Hello, my name is Bukola Oriola, and I'm going to be talking about culture in this video. I'm going to be talking about, um, cultural differences and cultural values in terms of providing services to victims and survivors of human trafficking in the immigrant population, because we all come from different culture. And I have a question for you, and I would like you to do this short exercise. Pause for a minute and think, what does culture mean to you when you hear that word? Culture, what does it mean? And write everything that comes to your mind down. Take 5 minutes, write it down. What comes to your mind when you hear the word culture? After writing that down, then I want you to double check it with some of the things I'm going to be saying in this video. And if you have questions, please, I would like to hear your questions. If you have comments, I would like to hear your comments. Either you comment on this video. This video is going to be made available online on YouTube and other platforms on my website, bukolaoriola.com. And you can also send me email. Meaning of culture. Let's go to the definition, because culture means different things to different people. And I want to go first to the main meaning of culture according to Merriam-Webster dictionary. It defines culture as the beliefs, custom, arts, etc. of a particular society, group, place, or time. You see, society, group, place, time. And it's important to know that culture is broad, and culture can have various meaning depending on the user, or depending on the group, the age, the generation. And we found out that culture changes. We hear such phrases as southern culture, western culture, pop culture, family culture, societal culture. So culture is really deep and is broad. It's complex. It can mean many things. And that is why it's important to be cognizant of this in order to provide effective services to victims and survivors of human trafficking, domestic violence, sexual assault in the immigrant population. Because if you don't pause for a minute and think about the culture of the person you want to serve or are serving, you might not be providing effective service. You might not be getting the result you desire because you want somebody to do something, but you find out that the person is not complying, and you can't understand why that person is not complying. Perhaps it's against the person's tradition, and you don't know that. So how do you learn or know that, oh, okay, this doesn't work with this culture? How do I work around the culture? Or how do I educate the person? Because education is very powerful. But first of all, learn to know more. Not in an investigative way, but be inquisitive in a friendly manner to learn more about the person that you are serving. So going back to the meaning of culture. So, culture change from generation to generation. People who believe in certain way of life in the 1960s may have changed that belief in 2016. 1960 to now is quite, a long range of time. Within that time, we have up to maybe 4 generations. And when you have that, the belief of people in the 1960s might have changed. And there are some beliefs that they stick to the people, whether it's 1960 or 1820. It's still on. That practice is still really deep. For example, in Nigeria, you know, Nigeria, there are the main two religions which they recognize in quotes is Christianity and Muslim. However, there are traditional practitioners. And even though some people believe in Christianity and they go to church, do you know that some of those people still believe in their traditional rites, their traditional practices, their traditional custom? They say, oh, is the custom of our family to do this right, to go and give libation or do this at certain time of the year, because, excuse me, if we don't do this, somebody can get sick or somebody can die. All kinds of reasons, all kinds of meaning. So it's important to start learning beyond. It's great to learn from books, but I tell you, you can learn more from interviews from the person that you are serving than what you can learn from book. So having book and having the person makes a good combo for you. So now, and sometimes new cultures and new ways that people have adapted has made things to change. For example, growing up in Nigeria, I understand through history that Nigerians used to practice traditional beliefs, where nobody was going to church. Their own way of serving God was going to, their gods, and serving that God, paying libation, doing different rites, and all of that. Until the Englishman came in the colonial era and threw away all their stuff and forced them through slavery and made them to start practicing Christianity. And today, there are more Christians than any religion in Nigeria. In fact, if you are not a Christian in Nigeria, it seems like, oh, you are, like, oh, you're different. Although Muslim too, is a strong religion. There are so many people practicing the Muslim religion in Nigeria. But I tell you, the Christians are constantly working hard at converting the Muslims to become Christians in Nigeria. And there are still some people who do the traditional practice, but some of them do it publicly and some of them do it in private. They don't even talk about it. And like I said earlier, there are even some Christians who still do the traditional practices. So even though they are Christians and they go to church, they still go in the back and do their traditional stuff. So, when serving people like this who have crossed, religion and all of that and different beliefs, it can be hard to be able to understand how to serve that person. And the one way that you can use to know how to serve that person well is by learning from the person, about the person, about their roots, about their culture. What is it? Simple question like, what can I do to help you better? What can I do? What are your cultural practices, for example, that will make you feel more comfortable? Is there anything in your culture that you practice that will make you feel more comfortable? Make it about the client. So back again to the dictionary. So the Merriam Dictionary again gave a further detailed explanation by saying that it's the customary belief. So people have customs that they believe, social forms, things that is in the society. Even sometimes some of these cultural beliefs are not spoken words. They are just non-verbal, where we know, oh, this is what we do this time, for example, during festivity period in Nigeria, Christmas and New Year, people go around, with food, serving their neighbors, giving dishes to their neighbors. I don't remember being told or being um, educated about it, that, oh, this is the reason why we do this, or this is a must, but it's something I grew up with and it's something that is being practiced in my community. And even when people migrate to other countries and they connect with people from their culture or community, they continue that practice that they started or that they used to have in their home country. And that is why when serving the immigrant population, it's very, very important to be cognizant of these cultural nuances. So there is a professor from study.com who also mentioned an example. It's with the Indians. So the Indian man, for example, theIndi, they have what they call these cows. They call them sacred cows. These cows cause, a lot of traffic, but nobody could kill and eat them. Even though some of these people are hungry, they need food, they refuse to touch these cows because according to their culture, those cows are sacred. Those cows must not be touched. And that is because that is their cultural belief. So she said, and I quote, for members inside the group, cultural values are the core principles and ideals upon which the entire community exists. So cultural values, cultural beliefs, that is what holds the community together, so to speak. It's like the knot that holds the tie together, or the tie that holds the knot together, whichever one, however you want to use it. So it's really, really important for us to start thinking about all these different cultural practices. I'll be explaining more about different cultural practices. This first video is just about the meaning of culture, just basic meaning of culture. What does culture mean? I remember my exercise again is think again. What does culture mean to you? If you have not done the exercise, pause for a minute and think, what does culture mean to you? And write it down. And then begin to process it with what I'm saying here and whatever other ideas pop in your head. Check the dictionary. What does culture mean to you? If you are watching this on YouTube, comment below. I would like to take your comment. I would like to hear more from you. This video is one of my series to work on a book on culture in terms of how to help victims and survivors of human trafficking, domestic violence, sexual assault in various communities, especially for service providers in the United States. How can you effectively work with people who are not from the United States, or who might have even been living in the United States for a long, long time, but they belong to the immigrant population? How do you understand how to serve these people and serve them effectively? And make sure that as you are serving, you are taking into cognizance the cultural nuances, the differences in their practices while serving them. Thank you. I hope to hear from you. My name is Bukola Oriola. You can like my videos on YouTube, subscribe to my videos on YouTube. I want to hear from you. I'm Bukola Oriola on Facebook. I'm Bukola Oriola on Twitter. And you can join me also live on Periscope. You subscribe to my video updates and also subscribe to my newsletters on my website, Bukola Oriola. And I hope to talk to you soon. If you have questions, please feel free to write your question below. This video is going to be on YouTube and other platforms. And you can also write your comments or your questions. I want to hear from you. What did you even write? Comment below. Thank you and God bless you. Bye-bye.